As Universal Studios readies their new theme park in Epic Universe to open exactly 1 month from today, Disney is scrambling to do all it can to retain as much market share in the Central Florida area as possible, including by bringing back notable perks that have been requested by fans to return for years. And in a most surprising move, through the use of targeted discounts and select offerings, Disney is seeking to attract the highly coveted family demographic once again. Let's talk about a new range of discounts announced at Walt Disney World going all the way into 2026, in a move with the hope of competing with Epic Universe here on That Park Place. There you go. From That Park Place, Walt Disney World ticket prices actually dropped for 2026 in stunning reversal. Focus shifts back to families ahead of Epic Universe's opening. This by Marvin Montanaro, April 22nd, 2025. In a move that defies over a decade of trend lines, Disney has done the unthinkable. It actually lowered some Walt Disney World ticket prices for 2026 for a company that's practically made a sport out of annual increases and upcharges. This reversal is more than surprising. It's historic. And while the changes may look small on paper, the message they send is massive. Disney is bracing for battle. Beginning January 1st, 2026, the updated one-day Disney World ticket prices look like this. Magic Kingdom $139 to $199, Epcot $129 to $184, Hollywood Studios $139 to $194, and Animal Kingdom $119 to $179. The top-end pricing for Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom remains unchanged from 2025, but Epcot's most expensive day dropped by $10, and Magic Kingdom's lowest tier fell $5 from $144 down to $139. That may not sound dramatic, but Disney doesn't lower prices, not unless they absolutely have to, and these aren't discounts, they're defensive maneuvers. Talks about, obviously, Epic Universe coming online May 22nd, 2025. And more than that, though, there's a lot of family chasing, let's say, by the Walt Disney Company. After years of chasing dinks and Disney adults, families are back in focus. For the past several years, Disney's marketing has aggressively shifted towards adults with no children, dinks, dual income, no kids, and so-called Disney adults became the prize demographic. They spend big, they post endlessly, and they don't bring toddlers. However, that's starting to change with this free dining plan for kids here. Perhaps the most significant offering of all, Disney is bringing back a version of the once iconic free dining plan promotion, this time targeting families directly by making meals free for children ages 3 to 9 on select vacation packages. Disney considers a 10-year-old an adult, by the way. And you can kind of
I hate that.
see.
Yeah, so much. I've always hated that.
Yes. And there are like a lot of, it's weird. You have some parents who are like, oh yeah, my kid's 10, and it's like, they look 14. So there's a couple of instances of that going on as well right there.
A friend of mine's daughter, I said to her one time, how old are you? And she said, I'm 5, but when daddy takes me to Disney World, I'm 3. Or I'm 2 or something like that.
That's pretty great right there. But they're doing a lot of this kind of stuff. Obviously, the water park access on check-in day, that's being extended to 2026, which is, I think, a big deal as well. We've seen that the water parks have been well attended after having brought that online. Also, too, there's a number of other programs that they are including right here, including early theme park entry, the return of extended evening hours, and the dining plan, as we just went over. There are a lot of moves by the Walt Disney Company, it appears, in order to bring families back and to include more value by staying on property. We've seen like the reduction of the Disney bubble for a long time now, and I think this is shifting that back into focus. Panel, your thoughts?
Well, you look at the free dining plan in the past. I mean, it's a promotion that they've always done previously. I mean, not in the last couple of years, but they brought it back most recently. But now offering it to just kids, that's interesting because that is a direct appeal to families, because that is actually almost going to push out the dinks and the Disney adults, because they're not being offered free dining. It's going to bring in people with kids. And now here's the thing. This is the thing a lot of my friends with kids have said to me about eating specifically at Walt Disney World is, I'm like, oh, you got to try Le Cellier. And they're like, look, I'm not going to a restaurant that's like $100 a plate with my kids because it's not going to be worth it. Now, if your kid is eating free, maybe mom and dad get that truffle butter or mushroom risotto filet mignon. at Le Cellier.
Well, what a
I think
combination of words that is.
it's a wonderful, wonderful meal. It's my favorite thing in Walt Disney World. But it is I think it's a smart move, and I think it is definitely. By the way, I was like a month ago years old when I realized that the Mr. and Mrs. Dink on Doug were named that because they're dual income, no kids.
Ah, that makes sense.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
that's how they afforded all that expensive stuff.
Culture.
The
Oh,
thing
go
that
ahead,
I
Josh.
think is interesting here that it's Epcot that they're lowering the price on after they did a 6-year multi attraction expansion supposedly of Epcot here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to bring up this right here. Epcot becoming the theme park reimagined that came out from National Geographic late last year, as if they had done something amazing to this park. Starting with what was it? Harmonious was the beginning of all of this. This was announced in the Chapek era here, talking about all of the things like Communicore Hall. It started as was it World Celebration, World Neighborhood, World Who Cares? Because it didn't end up happening. All of the things they were going to do to make Epcot into something amazing. I feel like Epcot being the one who gets the discounts really says that they know that this was not that good of a transformation. So that park was pretty much destroyed for 6 years. The front half of the park was destroyed for 6 years for essentially no monetary gain whatsoever. In fact, it sounds like it was a loss from a attraction standpoint.
Let me
also,
introduce.
they got rid of the Fountain of Nations.
Yeah, let me introduce an idea that maybe we are not exploring. The back part of the park was also destroyed because it had no entertainment. They don't have entertainment anymore. The world, the festival there that's around the world, whatever you want to call it, World Showcase, whatever funky name they tried to reinvent over there. You've got nothing to enjoy. Your stroll around that area is without entertainment of any kind for the most part.
Unless you're
cool
willing to
factor-
shell out for food.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
cool factor for a kid in Epcot used to be walking through Future World and seeing all like the sci-fi high-tech, doodads and whatnot and interventions. There's no cool factor. There's no awesome factor for you to walk through Epcot now. A kid walks into Epcot and sees this and they're like, oh, okay, I guess. It's not in any way, shape, or form impressive. I also think that families are starting to avoid Epcot, specifically when the sun goes down, because it has become a rowdy, drunken nonsense land.
Yeah, I think that's an accurate statement right there, which is why they might be inclined to change maybe the pricing structure associated with this park, and increase value for the resort overall. It's funny because Epcot used to be the place where a lot of people would book dining packages and so forth in order to take advantage of the view for illuminations and all of those scenic views around World Showcase. I think you make an interesting point here, Marvin. I don't think that a lot of people are doing that anymore because of the reputation that Epcot has earned over the past several years here. And in fact, World Celebration is it was built really to accommodate, what a lot of I think executives consider this park to be, the kind of food and drink park in the form of all of the festivals that they have hosted here. So that's kind of the sad part about it is, instead of an optimistic look at the future, we got basically a venue for drinking, which Epcot was never really meant to be.
When you show me this, Vash, that World Celebration, that is not a theme park that was created with kids in mind. This is an entire theme park that was redeveloped to be specifically for Disney adults.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of trashy, to be fair. It's like images of a outdoor mall in the 90s versus what you were describing, Vash, as that ultra rich tech future kind of a vision that we had. Had perhaps they built the Commerce Tower of glass and steel that blocked everybody's view of the lagoon from the entry. I think that it would have been a little bit different, but not much. I mean, everything is about extracting every last dollar from whoever visits. even discounting this park, I will say it's taken so many steps backward that it still won't be worth a visit. And, maybe that's a little negative, and that's okay. I'm very down on the Disney parks these days in light of what we're going to be seeing very shortly.
Well,
Well,
if the Magic Kingdom represents what the company is from an entertainment standpoint, Epcot was what the company represented from a theme park standpoint. It was a park that had no, it had all original intellectual property in it. It was everything that Disney was in the 80s, an optimistic vision of the future. It was a little off from what Walt's vision of a little semi-socialist. I don't know. I don't know if it was a dictatorship or a socialist utopia. I tend to go towards dictatorship here with the original vision of an actual community. But I loved Epcot. Epcot was my favorite park when I was a kid. I don't know why it outranked Magic Kingdom for me, but I used to love going around this park. And now it's now that I'm the right age for the company, from the company standpoint, I just have no interest in it whatsoever.
I do kind of wonder. Oh, go ahead, please.
Well, no, I was just going to say, do you think that them pulling back from edutainment, whether realized or not, the idea that each of these future world attractions had something to offer, a glimpse of the future, a dive and delve into imagination on everything, whether it be telecommunications or communications in general, or, the future of energy, or the idea that we're learning more and more about the body, with the life pavilion, or
Right.
any of the other things. I mean, it seems like we've abandoned these magical ideas of the future, whether they be from the 50s or even now.
I think they took down the Sega Channel stand too. There was one in Innoventions, and I loved it, even though I was never going to buy a Sega.
Okay.
I think that's the interesting thing about Epcot as well, because they've lost their vision with this park, and because they've placed less emphasis on this park in terms of its in terms of actually attracting people and providing something that people actually want to go to. I think this park might actually be impacted. I think it's going to be one of the most impacted, given Epic Universe across the way. I think a lot of people are predicting Disney Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom, rightfully so, but don't sleep on Epcot. I think Epcot might suffer from this deluge of people that would normally go to Walt Disney World now going to Epic Universe, and that will hurt a lot of the revenue that Walt Disney World sees from obviously those food and drink people. Let's say, Marvin, go ahead.
If you are a family, and you are doing a Universal and Disney vacation, and it's one of those situations where it's like, well, we can only go to 3 of the Disney parks to fit in all 3 of the Universal parks. The one that you are cutting out right now, and I can't believe I'm saying this, is Epcot. That's the one. And here's the thing. We said Epcot is no longer for kids. Everyone that I know that's like a theme park person who has kids has told me the exact same thing lately. My kids won't stop talking about Epic Universe.
Yep.
It's the big new hot thing on the block. I mean, and people are. I just scroll across this video on Twitter where people are like running as they were entering this lead portal right here. Which, by the way, don't do that. But at the same time, people are very excited and enthusiastic about this park, which, by the way, it's the first park to open in the social media era. And, was highly predictable that they would get this kind of a massive response. And now Disney is scrambling to respond in any way they can.
Well, and you know what? Epcot's big claim to fame was always what? Food. And when I looked at the restaurants in Epic Universe, my goodness, like these restaurants are, every single one of them is expertly themed, and the food looks out of this world. They're all like table service quality food for quick service. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
You and I have had that conversation, and we'll talk about Epic more. I think we're going to work on putting together an extra Magic Hours for next Monday after Marvin has gone. Maybe we can get Ron Bradley, who's in the chat right now, because I think
Lorena too has been there.
Yeah. So we're going to put together an extra Magic Hours for I think Monday of next week. We're going to make sure that nothing's in the way, and then do that. We'll have a whole episode dedicated to Epic and just geeking out over it. But I am seeing so much. You and I, Marvin, had a conversation where I said, I was about to say, and the food at Universal is so much better, the quick service. and you jumped in and said it's awful. And then a few months later, you and I had a conversation about that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just cut off what you were about to say anyways.
It used to be awful. It was terrible. Universal has stepped its food game up exponentially. It understood that was the one area where Disney was still consistently beating it, and it went above and beyond to fix those issues. I had at Islands of Adventure, I had a bread cone with like pasta and meatballs in it, and it was a garlic bread cone, and it was fantastic. I was like, where has this thing been? The Minions Cafe is better than any quick service in Walt Disney World, bar none.
Was the Imagineer in charge of the Handwich also stolen by Universal Creative? That's what I want to know.
I would assume so, because you got this too over in Epic, the How to Train Your Dragon handwiches,
which are a huge seller. I mean, the lines get like 45 minutes or longer for these, and this is during previews. I have no idea how they're going to take on a full day's worth of guests here, but Epic is doing a lot of things right, and a lot of people are noticing that, and that's why Disney is running a bit scared.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.